Rose and Henderson. Roberto Henderson would be a 6'3 junior. He'd be wearing number 50. And Anthony Watkins, a 6'3 senior, would be wearing number 12. Sharron is coached by Gene Sarazin. They're 15 and 12 overall, 3 and 3 in league play. Already having beaten one undefeated AAA team this week. They'll try to make it 2 in a row for a Cinderella story. Meanwhile, the Franklin Knights will be attempting to go after their school's first ever District 10 basketball championship.
Well, Tim, I think it's going to be a very tough ball game. General McLean shooting 40-plus foul shots in the last game against Sharron. They were not too successful. They were 23 for 44, something like that. One of the keys in the ball game, especially when it's a one-point ball game. Franklin last game ended up shooting, I believe it was 15 for 23, 9 of 12, and that was in the fourth period.
Knights with the opening tap, and they score. Hazelton tapping it off to Fulmer, and eventually it ends up with Matt Kazera, and 2 for Matt. Points number 1245 and 1246 in his career. Franklin up 2-0. And now the Sharron Tigers will work it inside. Ken Cashabera is getting a start for Sharron. And from a post position on the turnaround, Cashabera draws a foul. The Tigers will inbound.
And that going on Dave Hazelton, his first. That's something maybe the referees are going to look for, so you better be careful starting the ball game.
Rose inbounding to Bell. And outside, that's Shahid Muhammad. Now working it to the foul line and having it stolen away is Bell. Here comes Nate Keith, one-on-one with Bell, lays it in. Franklin up 4-0.
And again, just the relentless defense by the Franklin Knights getting the easy bucket.
Muhammad with the left-handed dribble, working it down to the right wing inside the paint, putting up the jumper off the back of the rim, no good. Ball deflects off to Anderton. Bounce pass between two defenders, give and go Fulmer to Kazera, off the glass, no good. Rebound Hazelton, blocked and fouled.
Well, Jason, first it was just a great pass between two players, a bounce pass from Ryan Anderton to Jason Fulmer. Jason did not have a good shot as he fumbled the ball. He passed to a trailing Matt Kazera, who a little strong off the backboard, but Dave Hazelton in with one of his patented strong rebounds was fouled. I believe that's on Cashabera. It's his first. Dave Hazelton at the line to shoot 2.
First is good. Hazelton hit for 18 points in the win over Hickory on Tuesday, and that tied his season high. One more for the 6'3 senior, hits this one as well. Franklin up 6-0. Shahid Muhammad will bring the ball down court, right to left for the Sharron Tigers.
And you can't really notice much of a limp there, so they have his leg severely taped, his ankle. You can see that, but right now, not showing it so much.
Muhammad losing it away, trying to go around a pick and then reversing. Now tied up by Nate Keith. Jump ball in Sharron's forecourt. The Tigers will keep the basketball, and Matt Rose will prepare to inbound for the orange and black.
And Muhammad having a hard time getting Sharron into their offense with the relentless defense by Ryan Anderton.
The ball's inbounded to the top of the key to Dan Bell. Now they'll try to work it inside to Cashabera, through his hands and out of bounds. Sharron turns it over. Franklin will inbound.
Well, Cashabera had pretty good low post position, but the pass was very hard from about 6 feet away. Just went right through his hands.
A quiet Sharron fan section on the other side. They're just happy to be here, I think. Anderton working it to the left and passing to Kazera for the Knights. Down to the baseline underneath, finds Hazelton, turnaround no good. Rebound Ken Cashabera of the Sharron Tigers. Muhammad into the forecourt. Stopping up when picked up by Anderton. Knocked away for a minute, but a foul is called. They called it a blocking foul, but it was more like a reaching in foul. And that's being assessed against Ryan Anderton.
And that's also his second team foul on Franklin. That's something, you know, Franklin hasn't really had any problem with recently, except for the other night with Nate Keith. They can't afford to get too many people in foul trouble, especially Ryan Anderton.
Ball inbounded between the circles to Bell. Dan Bell takes it to the left wing, puts up the jumper. Sharron's first points of the night on a field goal by Bell. It's 6-2 Franklin. Anderton across the timeline for the Knights. Left to Keith, back to Ryan at the point, back to Nate Keith. Going left baseline, short jumper. Off the side of the backboard, no good. Hazelton, one-handed off-balance turnaround, no good. Underneath, the foul was called against the Tigers.
And the way Ken Cashabera is reacting, it looks like it might be on him, and if it is, it's his second foul. Sharron was playing a 2-1-2 zone. Franklin recognized it. The initial shot was not a real good shot, but Franklin doing a good job of rebounding, getting the foul. Cashabera will take a seat with 2 fouls.
And Anthony Watkins checks in for Sharron. He started in both of the previous meetings with the Knights, and we thought that Cashabera did a fine job coming off the bench. Apparently, Gene Sarazen's been impressed as well. Sharron's coach now starting Cashabera here in the playoffs. Kazera for 3. It's good.
And that's nice to see Matt Kazera getting off to a hot start after the other night at Hickory. Hickory putting real tough defense on him. I think their game plan was to stop Matt.
Muhammad taking it himself, floating it, putting it up off the glass and in. Shahid Muhammad makes the score 9-4. Field goal for Sharron by their leading scorer, a gentleman that had 30 points last Friday night in a come-from-behind win over Erie East. Kazera, deep right. Overhead pass to the left to Anderton, directing traffic from that side. Sideline pass to the corner to Keith. Inside, Jason Fulmer draws the foul.
And this could go on 2 different players. We'll see who they call it on. Looks like they're going to call it on Shahid Mohammed. It will be his first, team's 3rd foul. So the referees on the first 3 minutes, they're not going to let the game get out of hand.
5:07 left in the first quarter. Franklin leading 9-4. Inbound to Keith. Turnaround, good foul call.
Well, that's that inbounds play. Just works to perfection. There's so many options. They got it right in the center of the key to Nate Keith. He went up strong, was fouled from behind. The basket going in, and the foul going on Shahid Mohammed, and it's his second. So 4 fouls for Sharron. 2 of them on Mohammed, 2 on Cashabera.
And checking in for the Sharron Tigers, 5'10" junior Josh Brady. On the free throw line to try to convert the 3-point play, and doing just that is Nate Keith for the Knights. It's 12-4 Franklin.
And Nate's been basically one of the offensive leaders in the playoffs. He's in with 5 points already tonight.
To the point, Brady. Now to the right, Josh Brady. Defended by Ryan Anderton. Henderson sets a pick, but Brady goes the other way. Here's a jumper from the foul line. It's short. Dan Bell couldn't get it to go. Franklin coming away with it. Anderton taking the jumper himself from the free throw line and hitting.
And Sharron looking for a timeout.
4:37 left in the first quarter. Franklin by 10, 14-4. We'll be back in 30 seconds on 1450 WFRA. At Westminster College in New Wilmington. The Franklin Knights having opened up a 10-point lead over the Sharron Tigers, and we're not yet midway through the first quarter. 14-4 the score.
Well, Tim, Franklin just, again, starting out with the opening tip and then putting the relentless defense on. They've played well against the zone.
Brady leading the way for the Tigers. Sharron in their black road uniforms, working right to left here in the first half. Left it'll come to Bell. Down into the baseline area to Brady, and his bounce pass to the post intended for Henderson. No, Watkins draws a foul.
It's going to go against Nate Keith. It'll be his first, and compared to the other night, they're going to call a lot of fouls, I believe, Tim. That was there was contact there, but nothing compared to the other night.
The ball's inbounded to Brady. Pass from left to right. That goes to Bell, back to Josh Brady, looking inside by giving it back to the point. And this time around, Matt Rose has it. Left to Watkins. Anthony Watkins working on Nate Keith. One-hander, doesn't go. Keith tries to deflect it off the backboard, and eventually Dave Hazelton comes away with it for the red and black. Matt Kazera down the far sideline, stops up, takes a 3-pointer off the back of the iron, no good, and the ball's eventually tracked down by Sharron. Bell off to Brady, and his pass intercepted by Anderton. 3-on-2, Anderton to Kazera, bounce pass, Nate Keith has the layup. It's a 12-point lead for the Knights.
And picture-perfect fast great. Anderton getting the ball right to the middle, and a very nice pass by Kazera through 2 players for an easy layup for Keith.
16-4 Franklin. Ball deflected out of bounds by Kazera on the pass from Brady to Bell, and Dan Bell will get ready to inbound.
And Tim, we're past that 4-minute mark, and the substitutions have not been made that we normally see.
Brady out near the midcourt circle. Now to the point, working against Anderton. Inside, bounce pass between 2 players. Watkins has the layup and a foul called on the Knights.
And that looks like it's going to go against Nate Keith. It will be his second. And Nate putting up his arms, just basically standing there, but it was not a smart play by Nate. There was no way he could have blocked that shot. Just should have stepped out of the way.
Well, here comes the 3-on-3 switch for the Knights with Danny Gardner, John McLaughlin, and Adam Zetwick all checking in. I think maybe Coach Bill Hager just hadn't looked up at the scoreboard. 3:20 left in the first quarter when the switch is made. 16-6 Franklin after the layup by Anthony Watkins. And Watkins on the line for a free throw after the foul by Nate Keith. Nate's second. Foul shot missed, but Sharron gets the rebound. Roberto Henderson coming away with it. This will be Rose driving left baseline, no good. Henderson, though, with the putback. Roberto Henderson makes the score 16-8. Field goal by Watkins, missed free throw, then a field goal by Henderson after Sharron got the ball back. Here's Gardner. High post, outside to Anderton, left to Zetwick, double team for a minute, blocking foul called on Sharron, Josh Brady.
And Josh Brady, he's shaking his head in disgust, and again, it was not a call where there was a lot of contact made. Referees making the calls, like I said, going to keep control. Tim, thinking back to the second game when Sharron made their run, remembering they were controlling the boards, and that's what Franklin needs to do, is to keep those big guys off the boards.
Out at the point, that's Adam Zetwick. That was foul number 1 on Brady, by the way. 5 fouls in the first half on Sharron. Franklin's been called for 4. Anderton deep with it. Faking left, looking right, stopping, taking the popper. Off the back of the iron, no good. Ball's brought away by Josh Brady of the Tigers. Left with the pass. Matt Rose doesn't take the 3-pointer. Thought about it for a minute. Here's Watkins outside. Left toward the corner to Rose. To the left wing. Jumper no good. The players clear away, and Anderton comes up with the rebound. Works it down court, off to Kazera near the right corner. Double team, spinning, bouncing it back out to Anderton. Inside the paint, left-handed layup, no good. Ball taken away by Franklin. McLaughlin's put back, no good. Rather, that's Gardner's putback attempt. And eventually Sharron comes away with it. Roberto Henderson tracking the ball down and handing off to Josh Brady. 1:47 left in the first quarter. Franklin 16, Sharron 8. And a foul called, another blocking foul. Dan Bell trying to get inside traffic. That's foul number 5 on the Knights. So we've played 6 minutes, 18 seconds. We've had 10 foul calls so far.
And Tim, that's going on Adam Zetwick, I believe, and it's his first. And there's several calls from the fans. We're right behind the Franklin fans hollering, let them play ball. And I have to agree with them. In a game like this, you want to call some fouls, but they're just calling several touch fouls both ways.
Jumper inside the paint by Bell. In and out, no good. Rebound by Hazelton, who's just back in. Fulmer's back in the ball game as well. Left to McLaughlin. Late whistle. Late whistle, like the man in the striped shirt had to think about it for just a minute. Maybe he just had to get the whistle situated straight in his mouth. John McLaughlin called for walking with the ball, and Sharron takes over.
Well, I believe it was a walk. John, just a little awkward after he caught the ball, was going to pass inside, and lane was taken away, and then he created a walk.
Here comes Brady inside the paint. Forces a bounce pass, and it's stolen away. Tried to get it to Watkins, but Zetwick comes away with it for the Knights. Down the near sideline to Fulmer, back outside between the circles to Zetwick, left to Hazelton, to Fulmer at the left baseline, looks outside, takes a couple dribbles and lobs it to Zetwick. Right to Gardner underneath Fulmer, he's blocked, but the ball's knocked away to Adam Zetwick of the Knights. Inside to Fulmer, one dribble, jumper off the glass, no good. And coming away with it, Watkins for Sharron, 2-on-1 for a minute by Hazelton's back. He evens the score. Hazelton working defensively against Watkins. Turnaround over Hazelton, no good. Gardner comes away with it for the Knights, and Zetwick will set it up for Franklin.
Well, Watkins had nowhere to go. Very poor shot selection here. Franklin taking advantage of it, getting their easy rebound.
There's Gardner. jumper blocked by Watkins. No, by Henderson. One-hander good. Jason Fulmer with the field goal. 18-8 Knights. 18 seconds left in the first quarter, and Brady will take plenty of time setting things up. He's picked up at midcourt by Zetwick. Into the front court now, down the left side. 8 seconds left in the frame. To Rose at the point. Rose on Hazelton to the left wing. Rose looking right, passing right, cross court. Sharron doesn't get the shot off in time. Eventually, Roberto Henderson put up a one-hander, but it was late. At the end of the first quarter, the score, Franklin 18, Sharron 8. And after the successful first period, the Franklin Knights have first possession in the second quarter. Kazera goes up for a jump shot from about the foul line. He's blocked and fouled. Matt will go to the line to shoot two.
And the foul against Matt Rose. It's his first. Matt at the line in with 5 points. Will be his first trip to the foul line.
An 18-8 ball game. Matt hits the first of two. 19-8 in favor of Franklin in this District 10 Class AAA Boys Basketball Championship. Kazera hits them both. 20-8 in favor of the Knights. 7 points apiece for Matt Kazera and Nate Keith.
Well, again, this is the quarter where Sharron kind of took control on the board, so we'll see how Franklin can do keeping Sharron off of the offensive board.
Sharron starters Shahid Mohammed and Ken Cashabera remain on the bench with 2 fouls apiece. Give and go to Brady behind the back, and that results in a field goal. Bank shot underneath for Roberto Henderson. Assist Josh Brady. The score is 20-10.
And that was a fine pass by Brady.
Kazera for 3. Off the back of the rim, no good. Fulmer skying, trying to come down one-handed. Ball's loose. We should have a jump ball, and if we do, it'll go over to Sharron. Adams, and Ryan Anderton in there to tie up Roberto Henderson for Sharron.
Well, Tim, I didn't see how it happened, but Jason Fulmer just shot from underneath the basket like a rocket, ended up about 15 feet away on his behind out there. I don't know how he got there, but he got out of there in a hurry.
The only problem was you can't jump that far and that well and have both hands extended for the rebound, and he tried to one-hand it. Unfortunately, there were a couple of Sharron players there as well. Spinning inside, but missing the shot, Anthony Watkins of the Tigers. Franklin coming away with it. Anderton finds Hazelton, reverse layup, no good. Fulmer fighting for control, but the ball's taken away by Matt Rose of the Tigers.
And Dave's made that shot several times on the year. He went to avoid the block, but just couldn't get it high enough off the backboard.
Henderson at the point for the Tigers. Jumper from the top of the key, but not by Henderson, by Bell. It's missed. Matt Kazera coming away with it for the Knights. Down the near side of the court, working left to right. Here's Zetwick. Short jumper, no good. Hazelton with the offensive board, puts it off the glass and in.
Well, Adams shooting on the move. He's a much better shooter when he gets stationary, just a little bit short, but Sharron very slow reacting to the rebound. Dave Hazelton sneaking through and putting it up and in. 4
points tonight for Hazelton. He had 8 in the Grove City game in the quarterfinals, including that magnificent dunk that you've seen so many times on the 11 o'clock news. Dave Hazelton tied a season high with 18 against Hickory on Tuesday. Shot underneath for the Tigers, missed. Here comes Anderton for the Knights. Jumper from the foul line. Headed out of bounds, saved by Hazelton to Fulmer. Fulmer's shot comes up short. Fulmer goes down, and nearly on top of him, Roberto Henderson of Sharron. But now here come the Tigers. And Henderson gets back at the last minute to take the pass from Josh Brady. Now sets it back to the junior, and Brady will set it up on the right side. Hands it to Bell, back to Brady. Working against Anderton, trying to get around a pick set by Watkins. Does go baseline, now he's too far underneath. To the point, three-point attempt by Rose, no good. Hazelton trying to take the ball away on the rebound and deflects it off to Matt Kazera. The Knights will set it up. 22-10, Franklin, 5:07 till halftime.
And Ryan Anderton stopping in front of Coach Hager, giving him some directions there.
Goes to the right wing, puts up the jumper, it's good.
Well, that's good to see. Ryan's last shot did not get ironed. I think Ryan is determined tonight. He went down there, nobody picking him up at the foul line. He knocked her through.
24-10, Franklin Knights. Josh Brady down the right side, finds Henderson at the foul line. One-hander off the back of the rim, no good. Jason Fulmer with the board for the Knights. Anderton sets things up. Comes left side. It's Zetwick in the corner. Looking in to Fulmer in the paint. One-handed turnaround, no good. Franklin fans want a foul called. Hazelton deflects back to Jason Fulmer. The Knights get another opportunity. Underneath, Anderton to Hazelton. This time the foul's called. Hazelton blocked and fouled by Anthony Watkins.
And that will be his first foul. I have him for 12 in the book. Okay, that's what it is. Sharron calling timeout again there, Tim.
With 4:18 left until halftime. And the score, Franklin 24, Sharron 10. We'll be back in 60 seconds on 1450 WFRA. House at Westminster College in New Wilmington with Larry Grill. This is Tim Shaw. Dave Hazelton will shoot two for the Franklin Knights. Misses the first of two. The foul assessed against Anthony Watkins just before the timeout, number 1 on Watkins. We will be in the bonus at the Franklin foul line the rest of the way. Hazelton was fouled on the block shot attempt. Misses the second as well. Sharron coming away with the ball. Franklin on top, 24-10 as we approach the midway point of the second quarter. Inside, Shahid Muhammad back in, so is Ken Kashabera. It's Muhammad off two. That's not Kashabera. Number 42 is John Stevens. No, it's Bob McGinty. All right. McGinty, someone we didn't expect to see in the action this early. Kashabera, who started, is on the bench with 2 fouls. Here's Hazelton outside. Left to Nate Keith, a 24-12 lead for the Franklin Knights. 3:33 left till halftime now. Hazelton and Keith working outside. Also in there, John McLaughlin, Dan Gardner, and Ryan Anderton. Inside the paint, they try to work it back out. Ball knocked out of bounds. They save. Franklin lost it out. Sharron gets the ball back.
Well, Ryan Anderson got caught in traffic there and tried to get the ball to Dave Hazelton, but Dave went one way and the ball went the other.
Muhammad inside, jumper, no good. Fight for the rebound. Nate Keith will be called for his 3rd foul, going up over the back of Bob McGinty. There haven't been that many opportunities for anyone on the Franklin Knights to foul out in this season. But Nate Keith did Tuesday night in the semifinal win over Hickory. Now, of course, one of the fouls shouldn't have gone against Nate, but that's ancient history now. Nate does sit down with his 3rd here. Jason Fulmer checking back in for the Knights, and that's only the 6th foul on Franklin, so Sharron will inbound. This is Josh Brady, top of the key, left with it to Anthony Watkins. Bounce pass to the low post to McGinty. No, that is Stevens, and his turnaround is good, and the Franklin fans think he walked all over the place in there, but John Stevens gets 2 for Sharron.
And not only that, I thought it could have been an offensive foul.
Gardner coming outside to help, but his pass is stolen away. Here comes Brady. It'll be one-on-one with Anderton. That could be an offensive foul. It is.
And that was a good hustling play by Ryan Anderton getting down there, and that will be Josh Brady's second foul.
And he wasn't too happy about it, but Shaheed Muhammad says, keep your cool. Matt Kazera back in for Dave Hazelton for the Knights. It's a noisy field house down here at Westminster College. It's been a while since Franklin's had a playoff game down here. But then Wilmington never was in District 10 until this year. Anderton into the front court for the Knights. Off to Kazera. Matt looking inside, looking left, bounce pass left to Ryan. Anderton against Muhammad inside the paint, one-hander good, and a foul is called.
Well, Ryan with some fancy dribbling there, getting in, and it was almost a sky hook. That ball had about 6 foot of arc up above the rim, came down, hitting nothing but net. And he will have a chance to complete the three-point play. And that foul going against number 52, and that's John Stevens, his first.
And in the meantime, Matt Rose checks back in. He was waiting to come in for Josh Brady, who has 2. Anderton on the free throw line. He connects. And it's a three-point play for the junior, Ryan Anderton, putting Franklin's lead up to 13 points at 27-14.
And Ryan's in with 7 points on the evening so far.
Muhammad, right wing, left with the pass to Rose. Matt looking to the point, getting it to the point to Watkins. Watkins working against Gardner down the right side of the paint. Foul called before any shot could be taken on Watkins' drive. It will go on Dan Gardner.
And that's Dan's first foul, and I believe it will be a 1-on-1 situation, not a 2-shot foul, the way the referee was pointing to the floor. Dan playing good initial defense, did not cut the player off, though, as he went to the hoop. It will be a 1-on-1.
Franklin by 13. 27-14, 2:04 left until halftime. Anthony Watkins, a 6'3" senior on the line, shooting to our left. Front end of the 1-on-1, no good off the back of the rim. Rebound, Matt Kazera of the Franklin Knights. Ryan Anderton will set things up for the red and black. Picked up by Shaheed Muhammad in the front court. Ryan looking right, passing right to Jason Fulmer, defended by Anthony Watkins. Outside to Kazera, working to the baseline. One-hander good.
And Matt will not be denied. He looked like he was going to take that shot out at the elbow, a couple head and shoulder fakes trying to get his man to commit. He just dribbled by him, and then kind of an off-balance shot, but hitting the basket.
Well, I'd call it a 90-degree shot. He wasn't exactly facing the bucket. He was on the right baseline about 10 feet away. At this end, a blocking foul called on the Franklin Knights. Jason Fulmer went down, but it looks like the foul will go on Jason.
Well, Tim, I've never seen these 3 referees before.
Well, we have seen one of them. Bill Young is out there, and Bill we saw work with Larry Facina a couple of times early in league play. Bill also, by the way, according to our notes here, covered the AAA Boys Basketball Championship at Hershey last year. Other than that, the other 2, right, we have not seen.
Well, comparing this 3-man crew to the 3-man crew the other night, I thought the other night crew did a much better job, except for that one glaring call on the mistaken foul. But tonight, Jason Fulmer did not move. He just stood, and Muhammad went by him and hit his shoulder as he went in the air, and they called a foul on Jason. But they're just not letting them play basketball the way they did the other night.
As we speak, Shaheed Muhammad makes both from the free throw line for Sharron. 27-16. Franklin's lead is 11 points. Right side, back outside the perimeter, it's Hazelton. Left to Fulmer, now to the point to Kazera. Inside underneath, it's Anderton. Turnaround good. Franklin back up by 15 points.
Somehow Ryan Anderton got down on the baseline all by himself. Matt Kazera finding him.
To the right wing, that's Muhammad. Right with the pass. Dan Bell inside the paint. Underneath finds Matt Rose. Reverse layup good. Jason Fulmer went for the block and couldn't get the ball. 31-18 Knights. 40 seconds left until halftime. Anderton between the circles, left with it to Zetwick. To the point, Kazera, right with it, Anderton. Ryan looking left, passing left, that's Hazelton who comes out to get it. And now to Zetwick.